I believe I am hooked up today with audio. If you can hear audio, please let me know. I don't expect anybody to be on right now. This is not announced. But here on the left, I've got my wild beehive that I collected on Saturday. It's Monday right now. And I need to finish the installation of it. So, just to give you an idea, I'm down at the historical park in my community, and they have a great program where they just adjust this so it's a little more level. Help, yeah. Where we teach beekeeping to school kids and let them know about the importance of honeybees and so forth. So on the right here, see if I can see my hand here. Okay, so on this hive is my oldest hive. It's probably 4 years old, and they have requeened themselves at least twice. So this is a very, very solid, reliable hive. This hive here in the center, right here, is a swarm that Adam with Cox Honey caught and we installed here for the school. So right here, and they requeened themselves and are doing really well. We'll look inside of these hives here. This is where I'm storing resources, honey and combs and frames and so forth, so I can have it right here in the apiary. And then this is the hive that I caught Saturday. So if anybody, looks like I've got 12 people here. If you can just tell me if you can hear audio, just put a comment. Hopefully you're hearing audio from me. If not, I'll stop the narration. I don't see any comments here. So hopefully, maybe I need to push the comment button. See if that, top chat, okay. All right. Loud and clear. Okay, great. Thank you very much for the comment. I've got my contacts on today instead of my glasses, so I should be able to see a little bit better. I'll be moving the camera around so you'll be actually go deep dive into the hive with me. If I had a GoPro or something like that, I could mount it on me and make it maybe more interesting, but don't have one of those. This is just on my cell phone. Okay. So we're going to start. I'm going to do this hive, the wild hive last, and let's take a look inside of the hive here. You notice I've got an entrance reducer on it, but it's on the wide section because this was a really small hive, and I just wanted to protect it from any other hives coming in. So let's just take a look here. When you work with the beehive, you want to work from the back so that you don't interrupt their flight pattern. These are very gentle bees. I rarely ever use smoke, so I don't even have my smoker lit today. I should probably do that for the new wild hive. So we've got bees all the way up to here. And just see if you can see well. Looks like you guys see pretty well. So this is good. I see bees here in the center, which generally means that we've got a working queen, because they typically will lay from the center going out. And I'm just going to remove some frames. Typically start from the outside because there's less activity, less disturbance on the hive. And there's bees here. I'm just going to move them out gently. I try to move gently and slowly. Sometimes I'll make a mistake and cause a problem, but I'm just going to see how far this queen is laying and if they need more resources. So they are pulling, see that white comb? They are pulling the comb out. You can see it's new comb because it's white. So that looks really good. It's on a black frame. No personal preference, but I have used black frames in the brood boxes in my hives, and I use the white or yellow frames, foundations in the honey production. You can also see that they are collecting pollen in here. You can see the yellow in there. It's probably from the dandelions. Dandelions is a really good pollen, and it's our first harvest here in Idaho. So I'm getting close to the center. So I didn't see any eggs or larvae there, but we've got more bee activity here, and certainly, yep, we got lots of larvae and pollen. Oh, it's not focusing. Come on, focus for me. I can't tell if it's focused. All right, I'm gonna take my glove off and see if I can't touch the camera and see if it'll focus for you guys. That help? Come on. Anyway, hopefully that's focused. Get my glove back on here. So I don't really want to spend a lot of time in here. I'm done with this hive now. I see that she's laying. That's all I want to do. I see how much room she has. So in here is full of larvae, just in a nice pattern. We've got some capped larvae over here. So this is looking really good. Notice how they have kind of a half circle here, and then on the outside they will be putting in honey and resources for the bees. So this looks good. This is all I need to know from this hive, that the queen is working, and she's working well, which means she's got a good clean pattern. This one right here in the center, and I'm just doing this for you guys. I typically would be done and close this up now. This one here should have the most eggs or larvae, and we'll take a look. Yes, so that is beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. It's all capped larvae. I don't see any drones in here. Looks like they need some more resources, some honey to feed. So maybe what I'll do is I'll give them some honey. I've got this Bluetooth head. Okay, so they're just starting to pull wax here. Just to give them enough honey, I'm just going to remove this, and I'm going to give them a frame that has lots of honey on it. I'll be right back. Okay, so I pulled this out of one of my other hives, and you can see it's got a lot of honey in here. The resources, I'm going to slide that in close to the bees. There's no larvae on that one. There is, I think, on this one. Yes, there is. So they will use this honey. I mean, I have this honey. I'm not going to harvest it. This is for the bees, so I'm just going to give it here as a resource. Gives them one less thing that they have to do. Produce themselves. Makes it easier on them. This is beautiful comb. Look at just absolutely beautiful comb here. I'm also going to put another frame of honey on there for them. So this comb is already pulled. It's got some resources on there, so they are good to go. Take my frame holder out, grab my hive tool, get everything tightened up and centered. It's important to keep that bee space. Okay, so she has plenty of room, so she's not honey bound. So she can continue to grow. that's all I need to know. I'm going to take a little bit of that wax off. Take that wax off. I cut a vent here for the winter so the humidity can get out, and I lay it like this, and then during the summer, get this off, I turn it over and it becomes a top entrance exit for them, so they don't have to go all the way through the bottom to get up to the put the pollen and nectar in. Okay, and then this top lid is a little bit, you can see there's a space here, so I'm going to slide that forward so they can get in. Okay, she's doing great. Nothing else to do there, so oh, and hopefully my camera doesn't overheat. It is in the sun. Okay, we'll move over to the captured swarm from Adam, Cox Honey. He's very generous in helping me get this set up for the historical park. So what I was saying about my Bluetooth is that I've got a cord draping down the back of my neck, and I feel that. Is there a honeybee in my bonnet? There isn't. Okay. And you notice hardly any buzzing at all, very quiet. Now look how many more bees there are here in this hive. This is a brand new hive for me. It was installed about a month ago. And I am going to see how the queen is doing. I know that she was laying great eggs the other day. A nice pattern. When I say a nice pattern, I'm talking about she's laying them right next to each other. And here's some honey I gave to them for resources. So they did not cap that. That's from last year's. All right, so that's already full. They have not tapped into that, which is fine. This is a much larger hive. This is heavy too, so this is all brand new capped honey here. And they are collecting honey. Look how beautiful that is. Amazing. So they typically put the resources on the outside frames, and they put the larvae in the middle. That's going to keep a more consistent temperature for the larvae instead of being from the outside. All right, so I see some honey in here. By the way, the sun is to your back, and so I try to have the sun go into the cells. So you can see where, because this was a swarm, they had started making some what we call peanut shells, but they stopped because I think they had already raised another queen. So this is the third box up. No eggs in here. I don't expect to find any eggs, and that's perfectly fine. I just wanted to make sure she had lots of room to lay eggs. And this is really old comb from previous hives, so it's dark. Okay, so they're using this primarily to store honey, which is fine because they'll do that, and they typically do it on the outside edge of the frame, and then she'll come up and she'll lay eggs in the center. So no egg laying up here. I'm going to put this honeycomb back in there. Hopefully this is interesting to you guys. You know, I do lots of editing in my videos and to make it very concise for instructional purposes. Okay, so you heard the noise pick up. I'm going to take this off, put it on hive 1, and I'm going to check to see how the queen is doing down here. But I enjoy doing the lives because you see the real unedited amount of work that's involved and so forth. Okay, look at that beautiful comb and honey. Put my hive tool down. It's just amazing. Look at that. It is June 22nd, I think, today. So you can kind of see how they're doing. Oh, I need to take this out. See how big these cells are here? This was for a drone, and they're not going to use this for anything. This needs to come out. So this is a plastic frame. It's from Cox Honey. I'll return that back to them. This is what they had when they picked up the swarm. So that's coming out. Good thing I checked that. I've got plenty of frames here for the bees. Down in the brood box, which is the lower 3 boxes, I usually give them older comb and then I will rotate that out. So I'll give them that. So let's see what we got here. All right, so they are putting new comb on here. But I really want to give these back to Cox Honey. So I'll take this out. They were kind enough to help me get this hive established, so I want to give them back their frames. I actually prefer wood frames with plastic foundation, and so this works out well for both of us. All right, so we see a lot of bees over here. That indicates to me that the queen is probably laying over on that other side. I see good activity, good numbers of bees. Okay, I don't see anything in here. I see pollen. They're collecting pollen and honey here. It's going to be a hot day today. There's no wind. I'm really surprised that these girls are not out being more active. Okay, nothing here. Lots of pollen in here. They're making bee bread. I mean, if you're gonna make honey, you might as well make bread, right? The bee bread is actually their food. What they live off of it day to day. So something disturbed them. Try to get in here. I don't want to squish a bee because when it does, it releases a pheromone and everyone gets all excited. And here we have capped brood. And there's the peanut shell right there. Has not opened up. But we've got capped brood here. That is looking really good.